Good morning. It's Sharifah Hardie, and you know I normally do not do my Ask Sharifah videocast interviews at 8 a.m. I usually wait until afternoon, so I'm rested, got a little nourishment, food in my stomach. But you know, when I get excited about something or someone, I have to share it with the world. So I'm up early Monday morning, 8 a.m., sharing this interview with you. So I'm going to ask you to do what I always ask you to do, and that's for you to go ahead and share this interview because I know we're going to have some gems that you don't want to miss out on. And you know what? We don't want your friends to miss out on it. And friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. That's right. So go ahead and share, hit that share button. So today's guest is amazing. You're going to love this gentleman. I know that I did. And I'm going to allow him to tell you a little bit about himself and his company. But please welcome Mr. Terrace Daniels. Good morning, Terrace. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate that.
You are so welcome. Everyone who's tuning in, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please add them in the comment section. I'll go ahead and read them to our guest. Now, Terrace, you told me something about yourself that really impressed me. I was like, wow, can you tell us a little about your company?
Well, I'm the owner of Bow Concept Philadelphia. Bow
Mm-hmm.
Concept is a Danish franchise that specializes in modern contemporary furniture. What
Mm-hmm.
we do is we really a design consultation furniture store. So you come in, we measure your space, we see what your likes is, and we bring the design process home. We simplify it, but we make you part of that.
And that's incredible. Now, with that said, that was wonderful. I love that definition. But as far as your size, as far as the community, from what you were telling me, you're one of the largest African American owned furniture stores in America. Is that correct?
Well, not really like the largest, but one of the few high end furniture stores in the nation and to the world for that matter. Like Bow
Okay.
Concept, for example, Bow Concept has about it's going to have 300 stores this month opening up, and 65 countries,
Mhm.
and I'm the only African American owner in that chain. So then I did a little bit of research, and there's only a handful of us in the world that offer high-end furniture.
Yeah, so you may not be the only one, but you know what? You're out there doing it. And not only being an African American, but being an American to have 300 stores while everyone else is closing stores. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So it was a little bit of a journey, and we still fighting and to stay relevant, and but we are taking over the city by storm, and we're not the best kept secret anymore. People are starting to see who we are and what we do, and our brand is very, very strong here in Philadelphia.
Well, congratulations. We got to get it out here to LA and other parts of the country. We want to welcome Sheila into the chat room. Good morning, Sheila. Sheila's saying good morning to us.
Good morning, Sheila.
Yes. Now, it's always a journey. That's the whole reason, the whole point, the whole everything why I do Ask Sharifah. Because entrepreneurs, business owners, we always want to know how. You know, we look at someone and says, wow, they're opening 300 stores. How can you do that? That's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey, why you started on this journey, and how you got your start?
Well, my road to this point was a long one.
Mm-hmm.
I had some challenges early on in my life and things like that, and then I was fortunate to get a job, and I worked up the ladder on this job. I started sweeping the floor, and then about 7 years later, I started to run the logistics part of this operation, and then my name got out there, and then Bow Concept contacted me, and they said that we heard about you doing some dynamic things in logistics and things like that, and we want to get a foothold rather in the Americas, and could you head up our logistics? So I did that. I did a great job with that, and 12 years, and then a hedge fund company came in and they purchased Bow Concept. So now
Mm-hmm.
I was at the crossroads. What did I do now? And typical fear of what's the next chapter in my life and everything. And I decided to pivot and get onto the retail side since I was so familiar with the Bow Concept product. So I looked at area because I'm really from New Jersey and things like that, in that area. So there was opportunity for me to come to Philadelphia, and it was new to me and everything, but I took the chance and took the risk and learned along the way, and I'm still here.
That's amazing and incredible. I want to go back to something you said. You said you started out sweeping the floors.
Hmm.
So too often people are too quote unquote good, too big, too whatever to start off at the beginning. Some of the most successful people started off at the bottom, started off as interns, just wanted to get in their foot in the door. So when you started off sweeping floors, were you sweeping those floors like one day I'm going to own this, or one day I'm going to, do more than just sweep the floors? What was your mindset and your thoughts when you first started?
Well, when I first started, it was just getting acclimated to the workforce and things like that. But I always had a natural curiosity about myself, so I didn't have uh, like a big desire to run things, but I did have a desire to learn as much as I could learn. So while I was sweeping, I was always looking over somebody's shoulder. How do they run this machinery? What do they do? And when I took breaks, I would always take breaks around the people that I wanted to aspire to be in that group, and I would just listen and learn. And I didn't have much of a education, or I didn't go too far as education, but I went to the University of Barnes and Noble. I sat on the floor and I read everything I could read about leadership and management and things like that. And then when the opportunity did come around, I was able to take advantage of it. And then I put my work ethic in, and things just started to happen for me.
So what was the first initial step? You said you went into logistics. Learning logistics, I think, is paramount of every kind of business, because that's the operations. Can you tell us a little bit about logistics and that whole process?
Well, like I said, I went in, and it was, like I said, sweeping the floor. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a warehouse environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to get fascinated with the overall movement of merchandise, getting it from one point A, first producing a good product, and then getting it from A to B. And I had a natural knack for that, to understand optimization and flow and things like that. So like I said, I would read everything about that, keep everybody motivated, and then it naturally came easy for me, because it was just very, very fascinating for me. And people took, like, a lot of people don't look at that as a key element as success, but it was something that I see that was needed. And I mastered that. I actually mastered the art of logistics. And the ownership and everything, like, took pride in that, and they were able to expand. It went from, when I was there, it went from a $5 million company to, when I left, it was a $120 million company. And I have no qualms about saying the company was Human Scale, which is an office furniture product company. So that was my first endeavor.
Oh, wonderful. Again, if you are just now tuning in to Ask Sharifah Videocast, we are speaking with Mr. Terrace Daniels of Bold Concept. Good morning to Essie, Kevin, Ryan, Craig, Jermaine, Charles. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to add them to the comment section, and I'll pass them along to our guests. Now, I myself, part of my story is I was laid off over 7 times. I started up different companies. Now I have my company in the news, PR. Often when you're going through different transitions in life, you just kind of wind up at a company. Was there anything about furniture in particular that interests you? And, as you grew with the company, did you just begin to really just enjoy or find aspects of furniture itself that you liked, or was it just a product that you just happened to be making?
Well, it happened to be, I've been in the furniture, like on the office side, then I got into to residential and commercial furniture on this side, but I kind of ended up there. But the main thing that drove me was that I love people to appreciate a good job. So, and like, when we go in there and they get a nice piece and they get some furniture and we make a beautiful space, I love that people will come and say, wow, this is great. And it's unique, and they just love the end result. And like I tell, like, when we talk in the culture and in the store, is like, we make Philadelphia beautiful, one space at a time. And I just love that. And and it wasn't just a money grab for me, or to say like just financially, because that's important too. But it was like, if I can put out a good product and people can love it and enjoy it, and start to create a little bit of legacy with my name, then the money will come. So I just love that people just love what we're doing and things like that, and that gives me a little bit of purpose in life as well.
Well, you have to have that purpose in life. So tell us a
Mm.
little bit about your pieces. One of the things that you said is they're unique.
Well, they're unique in the sense that it's contemporary modular furniture. So like if we come into our showroom and you see a sofa, but you say back, well, I like this sofa, but I like it to be a 3-seater, 2-seater, a chase, or a sectional, we can do those things. And then we have over 125 fabrics and textures to choose from. And we can even do some variations with the leg options, arm options, and things like that. So we can make something standard and make it a little bit of unique for you, and get your taste and your personality incorporated in the pieces. And also our board furniture, we can play around with the finishes as well, and leg options as well with our board furniture. And last but not least, there's some functionality with a lot of our pieces. We can, well, for example, we have like a ottoman that changes into a small bed. We have a coffee table that can rise and be a full dining room table. So we have a little bit of functionality as well with our pieces as well. So it makes it fun, unique, dynamic, and a conversation piece when you're having friends and family over.
Wow, I've never heard of such thing. Maybe it's me, maybe I don't get out much, but I've never heard the functionality aspect where you can change a piece around. So for all of us who are not in the Philadelphia area, are we able to order online to get the pieces that we want?
Well, what happens is that we don't really have an online presence as of yet, because we like to get involved with the design process. So you can look and get a basis, and then you can call the store, and then we can work with you and start to send you drawings and things like that. And then we partner up with, there's stores in several areas, like there's one in LA and things like that. So we can help you partner with that local store and work it out as well. But if there's not a store in the area, we can actually handle it from start to finish as well.
Okay, yes, you said you had over 300 stores, and so we have one in LA. So I'll definitely be checking out your furniture. But knowing Sharifah, knowing me, I'm like, I'm going to need something that's creative specifically for me, has some design, maybe Sharifah on the side of it. Is that something you'd be able to do?
Yes, we definitely can do that. Yes, we have over 1 million different variations, and we're just a guide. You take it where you need to go. But we have specialized guides in place to make sure that it makes sense and that it's doable and that it's not too far to the left. But we let you take control.
That's good. You might have to. Terrace will be like, Sharifah, you're going too far to the left. Everything, the whole house, everything. Just ask Sharifah, ask Sharifah, ask Sharifah. If people come in, it will definitely be a conversation piece. Now, I'm still back on 300 stores. I know this didn't happen overnight. What was the expansion process like for you?
But for Bold Concept as a whole?
Yes.
Well, Bold Concept as a whole, it started in 1958 in Denmark. And that was one of the things that drove me to this store, because the first time I went to Denmark, and then I went into this like a sort of convention that they had. And then they had all these people from all these different countries, backgrounds and managers, and all races, creed, color, sexual identity, everything was left outside the door, and people was there under one common theme, and it was a beautiful feeling. I said, this thing that rose out of two guys making furniture for their friends rose to 300 stores in 65 countries, and I said, okay, I can be a part of this here. Yeah.
So at first you may not have been sure whether or not you wanted to be a part of it. But let me just ask you, I want to go on a personal side for a brief moment. Too often when we're in business, it's like we work, night and day, all day, every day. What are some of the things that you do to enjoy life and not just get stuck focused on business and work?
Well, what for me personally is that I put my personal development in front of everything.
Mhm.
And everything else in business and anything is an offshoot of that. Because
Mhm.
I got to a point where I'm defining my purpose, like I talked about earlier, where what's my legacy? And people
Mhm.
talk about how do you live forever and how you do it. How you live forever by leaving a little bit of a footprint behind you. So
Mhm.
I'm formulating how I'm going to reach back and help people and
Mhm.
and do that. So that comes first. So when I'm not working, it's all about personal development, reading. How can I impact my community? How can I mentor a little bit? What can I do to make sure that I'm operating on my higher self and things like that? So that's really my hobby and what I do and things like that. And then when I do that, the better I get, the the more in tune I get with the business and things like that, and everything comes a little bit easily.
Okay. So are people able to, and before I even go into the next question, let me just applaud you for everything that you're doing, including the mentorship. I think mentorship is very important. We need more people to reach back into the community, reach back to our youth and say, you do have the option to be more than, to be more. Let's just say more. Now, back to the company and back to business, what are some of the things that you would like to make happen or see happen moving forward
Well,
with both?
yeah, both concept. Of course, I would like for of course
Mm-hmm.
expanding, to open up several more stores,
Mm-hmm.
and right now I'm looking for people to come in and invest and see if they want to be part of what I'm doing and
Mm-hmm.
things like that on expansion. But my main thing is like for the community to know that you too can be your own business and that you can do it. Because for a lot of years before I did this, even when I was in corporate America and I was moving up the ladder, I
Mm-hmm.
still had a phobia about going into business for myself and didn't think that it was possible. Now that I'm over here, I see that it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I mentor and I give them the mistakes I made and the challenges and what you need to do prior to opening. But you can do this and you can be successful at whatever you want to do.
What are some of the mistakes you made in business that you would have done different?
Well, one of the things I would have done different is I would have prepared a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I into personal development is the main thing is to, they say, like I learned to finish it before you start.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things I did, I got the first base, and then when I got the first base, then I looked at second base, then I look at third. But no, look at the whole thing before you get started. Map it out, envision it, make sure that you have the right infrastructure in place, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the main thing. Like your accounting, your
Mm-hmm.
business, your capital, how you're going to fund it, how you're going to think. You may not have all the answers there, but at least you have the need analysis there. And I would do that a little bit. I would did that. Well, my next venture, I would do that to make sure that I plan it before I even started or finish
Mm-hmm.
it before I even started. That's one of the main things. And make sure that you take your time making sure that you have the right people around you and the right support and things like that. And that you work, and the last but not least, that you always work on your business, not in your business. That's the
Mm-hmm.
one thing, because I was so much ingrained in the business that I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't working on it, and those little things that I needed to happen, they weren't getting the attention. But now I'm working on my business. I got the right people working in the business, and we're
Mm-hmm.
growing. We're growing tremendously.
That's an excellent point. I like that, work on your business, not in your business. One of the most common questions that I'm asked from business owners, and it seems obvious, but how do you delegate? How do you delegate? How do you delegate? So many small business owners, especially solopreneurs, entrepreneurs who is just themselves, they want to grow. They want to expand. They want to actually be a small business with employees, but many find it difficult to delegate because they feel that no one is going to love and take care of the business as they themselves do. Did you have a problem delegating? If so, what did you do, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I had a problem delegating, but when I found out that most times when you have a problem delegating is that you don't have it written down. Like I said, you got to finish it with. So when people don't have it written down, then if you don't have it written down, then you don't have the right expectations set. So when you sit down and write and say, this is what I want to happen with my business, here's how what I want to happen, here's the start, here's the desired result, and here's the expectation. So it's clear. So when I delegate, I can say, here, it's clear, this is what I want, and here's the checkpoints. Here's when I'm going to check back in. Here's how we're going to safeguard it. Here's how we're going to analysis, and here's the key learning. So once I was able to sit down and start to finish things before I started, I put it on paper. My expectations was clear, and I gave it to delegate, and I was able to delegate. And second, you have to surround yourself with people that may be a little bit more clever than you are. And if they're a little bit more clever than you are, then you won't have no problem delegating on pushing it on. But if you want people that you're the brightest bulb in the pack all the time, then it's hard to delegate, you know. But I'm not fearful of surrounding myself with good people, and then I put it on paper, and the rest is easier for me.
Okay, still on that same point of working on your business and not in your business. Again, on that same line of delegation, a lot of small business owners, they want to be a part of every aspect of the business, even when they technically have delegated or handed off. You said you made that transition from working in your business to working on your business. What were some of the main, give me like maybe 2 steps that you took to pull yourself away from the day-to-day operations of your business?
Well, I started to respect time. A lot of times when we do a budget, we sit down, you do your budget, which a budget is very, very key into a business. So you start to know what you want to spend, what you're spending, and where you're trending. So we do a budget, but we never do a capacity budget, because that's one thing. We don't have unlimited time. We don't have unlimited time. So when I sit down, I did a time budget and say, oh, how much is my time worth? How much and where should I be allocating my time, and I could have the best impact with my time. And once I started to break that down, my time, because I was spending 60, 70 hours a week on the business trying to work on in it and out at the same time. Once I put my time budget together, I said I would have more impact where I can get out there, increase the brand awareness, work on the financial, look at expansion, try to get capital funding and things like that. That's more needed than me being there, standing on the showroom floor, doing work that other people are already doing.
Okay. Well, yeah, it seems like you're a very wise person. You learn through this process. And again, that is why I do Ask Sharifah videocasts, because these are the questions people ask me, and even though they say Ask Sharifah, I'm the first person to tell you I do not know it all, but I know who to ask. I know there's someone in my network somewhere where I can be like, yo, Terrace, can you answer this question for me? Because the people want to know. And if you are just now tuning in, we're speaking with Terrace Daniels of Bold Concept, over 300 stores. We would like to welcome Rachel, Sherry. Thank you for joining us. If anyone has any questions or comments, please feel free to add them to the comment section, and I'll be sure to ask them to my guests. Now, Terrace, I think what you're doing is wonderful, but one of the key words I love that you mentioned is the word budget. Now, I've been told that the Harvard School of the rule of thumb is that you should have enough money in the bank for 5 years to operate your business, whether or not you make a dime. According to the SBA, you should have at least enough money in the bank for 2 years to operate, whether or not you make a dime, whether or not you make any profits. I find as a business consultant, so many people are focused on their operation based on their profits. They say, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money. I know everybody's gonna buy my product. Everybody's gonna buy my service. So I'll be able to operate, as opposed to having money in the bank. I have worked with people and they literally have enough money for operations, basically just to make it through that month. Do you have any, advice for them, words of wisdom, suggestions, recommendations on things that can be done? Because I know a lot of people are not sitting on 5 years or 2 years worth of money in order to operate a business.
Well, cash is king. That's one thing they do. Cash is king. And the first thing is to just, a lot of times people start and they don't have a budget, and they just run haphazardly through their operation. And I had to learn the hard way that you have to sit down and budget. You have to budget. You have to budget and sit down and put all your costs there and all your assets, and then you look at cash flow, what's coming in, and then you allocate that cash based on what you need to spend. How much is coming in? What is my output? And then the second thing is that you keep your credit intact so that you can go get lines of credit or loans and things like that. But I wouldn't recommend going and getting a line of credit or loans and things like that until you have a budget in place and everything, because you can be digging yourself a hole or selling your business and you don't even know it. So I would say put the budget together, then start to look at your output versus your input, and then look and see what lines of credit, what kind of loans I could get, and how do I allocate that in the best interest of the business and things like that. And that's what. And so the biggest thing that I did was put some advisors around me, so I don't have to figure out some guy, like I said, that was a little more clever to me and say what is the best plan of attack to how do we get this money, how do we allocate it, how do we pay it back, what is our debt ratio and things like that, and have good people around you. Not wait for, I'm only good because I made a mistakes for a couple of years, stressing myself, wondering how I'm gonna make payroll, how I'm gonna pay for insurance, things like that. But now I have people around me that say, okay, let's do an analysis. Let's take our time. Let's see what we need to do to keep the store open and keep you safe.
Oh, that's good. Now, mentioning board of advisors or just advisors around you, it's so often it may be difficult for entrepreneurs to create that advisor team or create that team around us because we may not have the resources to be able to retain them. Do you have any recommendations on how to get great advisors or as you're starting out?
Well, basically, yeah, because you don't have to. There's other ways that you get. Like every advisory board is not paid, you know. So one of the things that they sit down, and I pull people in there. I had a friend that's a lawyer, and I asked him, could you sit on my advisory board? And they love to do that because then you respect their intellect and things like that. And then I pulled my accountant into the advisory board. And then I just went to a retired business person. Then had to be in furniture and things like that. We got a retired business person that's just sitting around looking for something as a hobby and put his expertise. And that was my advisory board. So we actually just did this a couple of months ago, and we're sitting down, and now it's starting to go well. So everything now has to be paid, and then you can adjust it later on. But I would just recommend see what your network around, and then once you get one good person, they could recommend another person, and you sit down and that, like I said, everything is not paid, but you do need to have a think tank around you. Believe me.
What happens in those situations when the advisory board isn't in agreement?
Well, then, it is my business, so at the end, yeah. So like, I don't go too far with that. It's just like a little bit. So I'll take it and I'll weigh it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make the final decision, but a lot of times they aren't, but most of the time your heart will guide you in the right way. At least you're hearing both sides of it, and you're not surprised so what I do is, like, if they're not in agreement and I say I'm still going to go with it, I go with it. But the person that's not in agreement, I still list the cons on it, and then okay, if they do go this way, then I'm prepared for it. And what's the plan of attack if they're right? Right.
So no one's always in agreement. That's just not human nature, and that's part of the reason. I mean, I don't want to just point out the negative of we're not in agreement, but that's part of the reason why you want a board of advisors, is so that they can give you different input, pros, cons, and give you things that to consider. But also when it's new to working with people, you have to understand how they think. And so at the beginning, when you come up with these ideas, because I know I've come up with so many different ideas where people have said, Sharifah, you are freaking crazy. And I'm like, I know, but watch when it works. And then it works. And they're like, oh, okay. And they learn to kind of listen a little bit more, because anybody can play it safe. Anybody can go with the tried and true kind of aspect. But as they learn you, then they begin to encourage you a little bit more. Like, what do you think? What are you going to do next? Have you had that same experience?
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing. As we go, like, we sit down and we talk, even with my staff, because they don't just have to be advisory board. And people have their path, and they believe this is the right path, and they might not agree on this and what this the direction we should go. So we go through, but I've learned to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. That's the art of listening. They said this listening and hearing all sides of it, and of course
Mm-hmm.
it comes back. And then, like I said, always go back to putting it on paper. Then I put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Then I, like I said, then I make the final decision, and then we go.
Mm-hmm.
But before we break away, we agreed to be disagreeable. Like we all have to support whatever direction that we going in. Like even if you may not get it your way, but let's make sure that when we do break away, push away from the table, that we all in agreement that we're going to put our best foot forward and support this plan. And if
Yeah,
you
that's
can't do
excellent.
that, yeah, if you can't, then let it be known then,
Mm-hmm.
because we need all hands on deck when we're ready to roll.
Yeah, so you can disagree without being disagreeable.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
because so often, especially in corporate America, which is one of the reasons why everybody tends to run at some point from corporate America, is that they're given a task to do, which they do not agree with, and then in some form or fashion they may sabotage it because they're not given 100% to make it happen because again they didn't agree with it from the beginning. So, but when you have an idea that someone may not necessarily, and sometimes it's not even that they disagree with it. Sometimes they can't see the vision. And that's one of the things that I talk to entrepreneurs about, which is different from a business owner as opposed to employee. The employee is doing their job. They're doing their task. They usually don't see the complete vision because the complete vision is so much bigger than just that business. It could be multiple businesses. It can be a complete empire. So the employee doesn't see the big picture, but yet they have to be able to do their job. So as long as they're able to do their job and their aspect of what makes this business go and give 100% to making it work, then everything will work out. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh no, definitely. But that's the culture. See, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we don't spend time on the culture of our
Mm-hmm.
business. We just look at the product and the customer and things like that. But what's your culture? We want a environment where people could come in and challenge. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I welcome the challenge. Like just because I own the business, that doesn't mean that you can't challenge me. But you challenge me in a respectful way, and I'm going to respect you by listening to what you say. But at the end of the day, if I don't agree with that, then at least let's talk about it, and then let's have a common goal that we will support each other's vision, because there's going to be times when you're going to be the minority on a decision, and I'm going to sway towards your way and things like that, and everybody else and everything. So vice versa, we have to just be like, when we push away from the table, that we supportive and respectful, and that we still want to win at the end of the day. But that I spent a lot of time on the culture of my business, because that's very important, that everyone has a voice, but also everybody respects the diversity in opinions and things like that. But we do play the team. We do play the team. At the end of the day, we play the team and we support each other, whether we agree with the outcome or not.
It's a key, Terrace, the key word that you use, and I love that word, is the word culture. And you spoke about the culture. And what many people may not understand is that every company has a culture. No matter what the company policy says, no matter what the employee handbook says, every company has, this is what we believe in, this is what we do, and they write it down. But the culture can be absolutely different, completely different than the employee handbook. How did you deliberately sit down and say, I want to create this type of culture, and how did you implement that specific culture?
Well, you start with your non-negotiables when you sit down, and I started with first the customer, and I made sure that we had the customer in view, and we my culture would say, like, we have to make sure that we give each and every person that walks through our door an outstanding experience, and that's non-negotiable. And then once we started to see that the customer was in focus and that was a priority for us, then we could start to implement everything else. Now it was coming in. Now, how do we continue to treat the customer well? How do we continue to respect what we're doing? and things like that. So then it became easier and things like that. And then I start to interject. What's your opinion? What's your viewpoint? And how do I get my staff to really buy into that by being concerned about them as people? Like, what is your goals? Like, I got a person on staff that says I want to own a store one day. So I know this. So I could say, okay, then you're not going to be here long. So, but what can I do to help you reach your goal? And then they respect that, and they say, okay, then I can respect your vision because you respect my vision. And then and the culture is there as a stepping stone, as a place where we can have harmony, where I can love to come to work. When I'm respected, the customer respected, my voice is heard, and I can challenge in a respectful way and everything. So it's good, and it's very important. I stop business sometimes. Sometimes I stop when I feel the energy in the store. I said, let's reboot. Let's reboot. I feel that the energy ain't right. We got to take a break. We got to walk away. Let's come back and let's bring some positive energy and some passion into what we're doing and everything, and make sure that what we're going through doesn't impact or impede us taking care of the customers.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. Again, if you are just now tuning in, we're almost at the end of the show with Mr. Terrace Daniels of Bold Concept. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to add them in the comment section. I want to go back to one of the things that you said. You said you want the customer to have an experience. Now, I don't want you to give away any of your trade secrets here, but I mean, it's a furniture store. Customer walks into the furniture store, they see the furniture, they look at the furniture. I mean, how is that an experience? How do you make it an experience?
Why? Because first of all, you don't profile.
Okay.
You don't profile, and anybody that walks through the door, you treat them as that they're ready to buy and ready to spend, and regardless. And so when you come in, you give everybody a great experience. So you come in, you welcome them, you explain the concept. That's one of the things that we do. We explain the concept. We explain what we do, who we are. We give them a little bit of our culture, tell them who we are, what we do, and everything. We offer them some comfort. Would you like some water, some tea, or some coffee? Can we take your coat? We actually, because you're very much welcome here. And also, we know that you may not be in line to buy something today, but please come in, you visit our showroom, look around, see if you get some inspiration. You might have some existing pieces at your house, and you see the way we do our showroom. Go back home and take care of your space. So that's what we do, and we give them an awesome experience. We take our time with them. We get personable, and we build the trust and things like that. So that's how we do it here at Bold Concept.
I'm gonna have to come check out Bold Concept. I have to visit the Philadelphia store, go hang out in Philly. I always want, Fresh Prince got me wanting to visit Philly anyway. I had to get out there one day. But, I just have to ask, even before I get to my next question, how did you learn that? I mean, because everything you said was just perfect for 100% A+. How did you learn that whole experience? Because I have some thoughts on it.
Well, it's the other side of the coin, because a lot of times, as I come from nothing, so when you're used to nothing, you get used to being treated like nothing a little bit. So as I started to, like I said, climb the corporate ladder and started to be able to purchase, had some purchasing power, I still was subjected to profiling or assuming certain things, and then and then it would bother me, and I said, if I'm ever in this position, I'm never going to treat people like that as well, like that, and that's from restaurants or any way that I do that. I'm never going to treat somebody in that. So when I got the business, it was easy for me to do that, because I said, how you hear I treat people like I want to be treated, but people say that really mean nothing. Then you kind of used to being treated bad, So I said, I'm never going to do it. So anybody that came in, I said, just give them an awesome experience, show them what we do, treat people like they wanted to be treated. And now when and not to brag, but but I'm happier when I walk through the streets of Philadelphia. I'm pretty much known. The store is known, and they say, "Oh, that's the boat concept, that's the furniture guy," and everything, because they know that I'm in the streets. I'm talking to people. And last but not least, when there's a problem, because it's easy to treat people when they just pulling out their money and spending money, and you can treat them well. But when there's a problem, I still give them that extra attention. That it's important. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it right. I'm gonna do what I can. You're not an afterthought, and that's really what got me going. Is they said the customer service from start to finish is impeccable, and that's how we're able to do what we do.
I love that, because that's what I was going to share my experience. It does come down to profiling, and being me, little black sister who owns her own PR company, television network, hosts, I walk into a store and obviously I get profiled, but I have this silent rule in the store. If the representative does not speak to me, I'm not buying anything. And I say that in every store. I don't care what store it is. I can go to Target. If I walk in and there are representatives near the door and they see me and they don't speak to me, I'm not giving them my money, and they don't even care enough to say hello. How you doing? Welcome to the store. Thank you for shopping here at Bow Concept. If I don't hear that, guess what? I'm gonna take my business elsewhere. It's just that warm welcome. I love the tea, love the coffee. I think you're doing an amazing job. Now, what I like to do at the end of every show is just allow my guests the opportunity to just look right out, speak to the people who are watching live, people who are watching this in the archives, and just let them know what you want them to take away from your interview, and let them know where they can find you.
Okay, well, I'll start backwards and go forward. It says you can find us at boatconcept-pa.com. That's our website, or if you just Google Boat Concept Philadelphia, and you can find us. We actually on Facebook with those same handles, Twitter, all this, Instagram. My name is Terrace Daniels. You can personally see me on my brand. I try to separate it a little bit, but you can follow me and link up to Boat Concept as well. My takeaway is that I'm a business, but my business is not just my main purpose. My purpose is to of course get some financial security in my life, but also to do it in a way that people can really recognize good furniture, good spaces, good interiors, and things like that, and smile and be excited about that. So right now, this is what I'm doing. But if you do come see us, you're gonna have an awesome experience. We do great work. Come down to 1719 Chestnut Street in the heart of Philadelphia in Center City. Ask for me, ask for one of my staff, and you're going to have an awesome experience. I guarantee it. And if you don't think so, then come prove me wrong.
I'm going to come out there and check it out. Right. I think it's wonderful. I love the whole sound of the experience. Terrace, I want to thank you for being a guest on today's episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And for everyone who tuned in, thank you, thank you, thank you. I wouldn't be here without you, without your support, without your love, without your feedback. I really appreciate it. And of course, I do have to thank my sponsor, Fireball Approves. Fireball Approves does rental verification for everyone across the nation. So before you rent any property, before you answer any ad on any classified website, before you pick any vacation rental, please make sure it's the real thing and not a scam. Visit fireballapproves.com if you're interested in being a guest for sponsorship opportunities, or to just watch more of my interviews. Please visit my website at asksharifah.com. Until then, everyone have a blessed Monday.